Hello everyone. Today I wanted to talk to you about the differences between an excuse and explanation. Two workers arrive to work late. One of them says, I should have left my house early. The other one says, the traffic was bad and it was taking forever at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, whichever you prefer. Or two students arrive to school without their homework done. One of the students says, I should have not stayed late and watched TV. Instead, I should have done my homework. The other student says, you give too much homework compared to other teachers. So you can see the difference in these two stories. See the difference of an explanation and excuse. An explanation takes the responsibility, full responsibility of the situation, but the excuse tries to avoid all the responsibility. An explanation takes all the blame, but the excuse always tries to argue and avoid any kind of blame. And finally, explanation accepts the fact that the consequences are well deserved, but an excuse argues that there should be no consequences. So there is a big difference between an excuse and explanation. And the funny part is that we all have tendency, with no exception, to look all of our excuses as a valid explanation, but to look everyone else's explanation as an excuse. That's how kind of we approach things. That's said, but we all have that tendency. So we have to be really careful to understand the difference between an excuse and an explanation, and always be ready to take the blame. And we know that this tendency is not new. It dates back all the way to Adam and Eve. Remember the story of Genesis, when Adam was asked by God, why did you eat from the fruit that was prohibited? What did he do? Instead of taking the responsibility, he blamed Eve. He said, the woman you created for me, she gave me, and she convinced me to eat. And when God asked Eve, why did you eat from the fruit? What did she do? She blamed the serpent. The serpent convinced me to eat. So starting from the beginning of the creation, this human tendency, this weakness is a sad reality, but we have to constantly watch out and fight against it. Let us all try our best and be careful not to find excuses, because it's really easy to justify the things in our life. It's really easy to fall into self-deception, which is probably one of the most dangerous things. We need to really be honest with ourselves and sit down and analyze things and really find out whether or not this is an excuse or an explanation. An excuse always tries to avoid all kinds of responsibilities, blames, and all kinds of consequences, and it becomes defensive. But the explanation takes the full responsibility, takes the full blame, and is ready to pay for the consequences. That's going to be your rule of thumb and your measurement in order to see and find out whether or not you are trying to find an excuse or an explanation. I'm sure we will not be perfect. We will always find excuses, but try your best to minimize it. God bless you all.